Hello, welcome to Business and Insurance. We've had assurances all along that the fallout for the South African market from the global financial meltdown will be limited. More recent developments may have changed that view. I'm speaking to Michael Creighton. He's head of the credit management company SACE's South African operations. Welcome, Michael.
Hi.
Now, Michael, the question people keep asking is how will this global financial crisis affect us here in South Africa and affect our pockets? And let's build up to an answer, because I think it's probably quite a complex notion. How do you see this crisis affecting financial flows to South Africa? And I ask this in the context of a study that you've done recently of 10 emerging markets, which places South Africa quite nicely if you want to compare how we're faring relative to our peers.
The financial crisis is definitely going to affect South Africa, and it's going to affect emerging markets. A year ago and 2 years ago, generally the feeling was that emerging markets were going to do reasonably well and were not affected by a global slowdown or the subprime crisis in the USA. But we're seeing the current environment being very different to that. And a key reason for that is because there is a restriction on or a concern regarding financial markets, that investors are going to be more restrictive on where they invest that money and in which markets they're going to invest that money in. And South Africa at the moment is seen as a high risk, particularly on the financial side of things, because we are very reliant on financial and capital flows of money into the country. And with a reduction in the financial flows around the world, we are going to be negatively affected by the current crisis.
Of course, given the size of our current account deficit. Now, given that vulnerability that you referred to, are we doing enough as a country to encourage foreign investment flows?
In certain areas, we score quite well against our peer groups in the emerging markets, and we certainly have reasonable stability with our economic policies that we've been adopting. So from that point of view, we are still seen as a reasonably good market. But because of the large current account deficit that we're running, there are definitely problems. And I think there's probably more that we can do to try and encourage foreign direct investment into South Africa. At the moment, our capital flows have largely been portfolio based, so equity investors buying shares on our stock exchange, and that's brought money into the South African economy, which has offset the deficit. But really what we need is direct foreign investment into South Africa. And when you compare us to a lot of the other emerging markets, we are not doing that well in attracting foreign direct investment into South Africa.
And what we're also not doing well is managing some of our political crises. I see your study says that from a political point of view, we do compare favorably. That's before the tumultuous changes we've seen over the last 2 weeks.
Yes, at this stage, we're not adjusting our position and saying that we are a higher risk political risk. The reason for that is at the moment, the changes are still within the current ruling party. The ANC will continue to run the country, and there's no indications at this stage that there will be a change in financial or economic policy. When compared to other countries, particularly like Turkey, Indonesia, India, who fare far worse than us, the reason for that is that they've got some very serious religious and ethnic conflicts that are taking place in their country. Now, we don't have that level of political pressure in South Africa. But certainly what has happened recently is that the international world has started to watch and are monitoring the political developments in South Africa. But as long as we continue to maintain the policies that we've adopted in the past, we should still fare quite favorably as a political risk.
Michael, perhaps unfairly, the most important question last, and I've just got a few seconds to ask you that. Drawing all of this together, how do we compare with our emerging market peers?
In the current economic environment and the current financial crisis, we fell into a category of higher risk. So out of 10 countries that we looked at, we were in the worst side of things. And the reason for that is the financial risks of South Africa, and mainly because we are so reliant on capital flows into the country, and that within those capital flows we are very reliant on portfolio investments, and we're not attracting enough foreign direct investment into South Africa.
Michael, thanks very much.
Okay, pleasure.
Michael Creighton is head of a credit management company, SACE South African operations.